So like I was just listening to like the seal and all those things,
Who?
and to the guy like talk about losing your
Yeah, the seal.
salvation.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The seal and salvation. Yes, go ahead. You said something about seal.
Yeah, the seal of salvation. And so like I come from a reformed background, and I've actually spoken to
You
you
too?
before. Yeah.
Oh,
Um.
you and me both, huh?
Yeah. Exactly. And
Damn. Sorry for
like
us.
it's been like perseverance of the saints has been drilled into me with like First John 2:19, all these things, and I've looked through your channel. I don't see like the correct way to interpret these. Could you go through like one or two of these verses,
Which one?
like First John 2:19 and like John 10:26 through
What
30?
about why would I go to First John 2:19? It's talking
Well,
about Antichrist, right? They were among us, they left us. Had they been of us, they would have remained, but they're going out shows they're not of us. That's about Antichrist in the context.
so could Antichrist be described as Christians who quote unquote fell away?
No, because he told you what an Antichrist is. So a Christian who falls away is not an Antichrist. What if he's an atheist? That's not an Antichrist. What is an Antichrist in the context of First John 2?
Well, I guess I don't know.
You little sinner. Why don't you stop playing on Xbox? He tells you what an Antichrist is, the one who denies that the Father and the
Yes,
Son are Father and Son. That's one, and denies that Christ has come into the flesh. But if someone falls away and becomes an atheist, that's not an Antichrist. Or if someone falls away and becomes Muslim, in the sense that he believes in Islam, that doesn't mean he's an Antichrist per se. But you can say that since Islam says Allah's not the Father and Jesus not the Son, you can say, well, in a way, he may be an Antichrist. But again, Antichrist is referring to those who deny that Christ has come in the flesh or that the Father and the Son are actually Father and Son. You can have an atheist, Christian becomes an atheist, he's not an Antichrist in that definition.
I see.
But yeah,
Okay.
but what are you asking me to show you?
Well, no, that was really it. And then the other one was like John 10:26 through 30, because like a
What
lot of
about
people, Christ says like, uh, "You're not my sheep," or "You don't believe because you're not my sheep, and
what
you
about
will
it?
never be snatched out of my hand."
Yeah, well, that's if you take Jesus's words out of context, because what Christ is saying is those sheep who hear his voice,
Hmm.
those sheep who hear his voice, they will never perish. But then the same John, if we read the same John and read the rest of what Jesus says,
Hmm.
what if you stop hearing his voice and you turn away? Because that's what he says in John 15.
Yeah, you'll be cut off.
Okay, so but then they're going to explain that away. They'll say, well, no, if you are truly a believer, you'll never turn away and fall away because they believe in what's called perseverance of the saints. And the easy believism crowd, once you say that prayer, ipso facto, that's it. So they're acknowledging these problematic passages. They admit they're there, but then they explain them away.
Yeah, yeah, and I used to be a part of that camp. I spoke to you and William Albrecht like 2 months ago. I was the kid with the picture. You're like burn incense to it and stuff. And
Oh,
ever
yes, yeah.
since,
Yeah, so me too. Me too. I was part of that camp as well, where I explained these away. But they're acknowledging that these verses are there,
mhm,
and they talk about if you do not abide in Christ and remain in him, you'll be cut off and burnt. Here,
yeah,
look what it says. I am the vine, you are the branches. He that abideth in me, and I in him, the same bringeth forth much fruit. Without me you can do nothing. If a man abide not in me, he is cast forth as a branch and is withered, and men gather them and cast them into the fire, and they are burned. So notice, if the condition,
mhm.
ye abide in me, and my words abide in you, ye shall ask what you will, and it shall be done to you. So what if I don't abide? I'm going to be cut off and burned in hell. But they'll say, no, it doesn't mean that. It means this and that and that. Yeah, well, the very fact that these passages in there and they have to contend with it proves the point. You don't just take one set of passages. You need to read all of the Bible and harmonize it.
I understand. Okay, so and I don't want to seem ignorant. I just about John chapter 10. Then I understand this is right after. How does I understand this says you'll be cut off, but then how does John 10 not like how does that move in confluence with this? You know what I'm saying?
If you were stop doing drugs, I answered it. My sheep hear my voice. What if you stop hearing his voice?
Oh, they're cut off. Okay.
My sheep hear my voice and I know them. Well, what if the sheep stop hearing his voice?
Then they won't produce fruit and they'll be cut off.
So why would I need to repeat myself when I answered that about 3 minutes ago?
You're right. I apologize, son.
Are you
Can
going
I-
to now put more incense to my picture?
I have to go to confession still.